Good morning. This is Jeremy Rodgers, and we're going to give the update on smarter cities and the requirement for smarter governing, basically setting public policy to leverage and encourage multi-processor solutions. A little bit about me. You got this last time, but I'm working on my PhD in computer engineering. I've been at a major technology company for the last 20 years, IBM, working across a few different areas. Just recently re-elected to City Council, so thanks for getting out and voting. And I also serve our country in the United States Naval Reserve in a technical aspect. A little bit about the paper. Again, we're gonna, it starts out, if we really want smarter cities, we need to start out with smarter governing, setting policies that encourage the adoption and implementation of smart technologies. We've basically broken up the paper across 4 different sections, examining some common problems, examining how technology is being used, examining how distributed multiprocessing is being applied, and then recommendations for better policies. We'll go back into that a little bit more detail. And then, just breaking out even more, we're going to look at, I've basically pulled together a bunch of research I've been able to find across these 4 areas: current best and worst practices, basically current research that's gone on, areas to improve services and infrastructure, and examination of policies and making policy recommendations. So we'll go through those 4 areas, what I've looked at so far, what I pulled together, and certainly still quite a bit of work needed, especially in the latter 2 areas. So for best and worst practices, here's a good area to start out looking. You go to the Smart Cities Council. All the links are here for our sources. National League of Cities, this is something that I served on for the Information Technology Council, but they have a great link to how technology is being used in smart cities right now and how it's not used. A good article, Smart Slums, Smarter Cities, that was published in 2017 from World Policy. It looked at technology, how it's being used to improve smarter cities, and also some areas of failure for some cities and areas that aren't doing well, but also how technology could be used in not just cities that are well off, but those that aren't so well off. The Brookings Institute in Education has a great series of papers around smarter cities. You can see the Smart City series. Basically, they aim to help deployment, help groundbreaking research, and they've published quite a few articles that are going to be referenced here. And then out of Columbia, International Case Study of Smart Cities looked at some good applications to technology and some bad applications to technology. Really, from a high level on best and worst practices, is some cities, some forward-facing cities do look to adopt technology. Everyone wants to claim to be innovative and claim to be a smart city, but it seems to be primarily market driven and market penetration driven, meaning that different companies, whether it's IBM or Batch or GE, GD, have driven it. It really hasn't been examined enough, I would say, from a government level, especially a municipal government level, and overall a broad conglomerate of government level, meaning things like the National League of Cities or the different state leagues of cities. Some current research that we've come across in doing this, Advances in High Performance Computing and Their Impact on Smart Cities, a pretty recent publication, which looked at how, what's possible, the art of the possible, and how some recent hardware improvements have enacted the ability to have some change. Looking at cognitive technologies for smarter cities, another good example of where some recent technological breakthroughs have allowed some new possibilities. From the MIT Technology Review, an ambitious project by Alphabet, a smarter smart city. So Sidewalk Labs is a breakout from Alphabet, looking to reshape how we work, live, and play in urban neighborhoods. And what we're doing, we're not necessarily looking to focus on strictly urban, but a lot of those same practices kind of blend out into the suburban and semi-urban areas. And also software platforms for smart cities, concepts, requirements, challenges, unified reference architecture. Good starting spot, very recent. Need to break into this a little bit more, and I want to really take some of that architecture type stuff and try and pull it out into a broader policy statement on how it could be adopted for cities. Some areas for service improvement and infrastructure. I mean, clearly the obvious things: water, energy, garbage, trash, cable, phone, safety services, municipal services, parks and rec, recreational services. Those are the things that cities provide and where we're looking to improve. So IBM's done a series of this, Smarter Cities, New Cognitive Approaches to Long-Standing Challenges. Wall Street Journal had a great article, The Rise of the Smart Cities. Really looking at data centric decision making, how to make cities safer, healthier, more efficient, and really the change that's coming in how cities are run. And that's, I mean, as someone involved in this myself, I would say there's not enough data-driven analysis that's going on, and we're pretty forward in technology adopting city. It's a lot worse at some other stuff. IBM also has a IBM Smarter Cities Challenge. Every year they've given out some technology and some assistance. So we'll look at some of those challenges that were approached there and some of the service improvements that came. National League of Cities themselves have also a link to smart cities and what's going on there. And then Computer in 2001 looked at smart cities and their innovative challenges. We could look at the problems that existed then and still exist today. But again, high level, we're really looking to see how cities, the core of where we live and the area that we identify with, can better serve their constituents, their businesses, the people who come in and work, and the people who get their education there. And then really this is where we got to tighten up the most, but look at policy and policy recommendations that could be instituted at a local level. Hopefully some papers that could be looked at a broader level, like the National League of Cities or some of these conferences that elected officials go to. And adoption, if you have a good platform and a good set of policies, getting those adopted as broadly as possible encourages the innovators and the companies that are implementing these things to build out that paradigm, that common architecture, that common policy. So a great source of this is the 2018 Policy and Resolution books. Every year, the National League of Cities Information Technology and Communications Committee, I was on it last year. I did not renew it for 2018 due to other commitments, but they put out a policy book, 4 to 8 pages of resolutions they're looking to adopt across cybersecurity, infrastructure, 4G, 5G, next level 911, the new 911. Those are all things that they've looked at. But looking at what they're doing in 2018 and hopefully trying to shape what they're doing in 2019 or 2020 by this paper is going to be a big goal. There's also a link to the more generic just information technology and communications group. We looked at a government first approach to India's smart cities and some policy decisions coming out there that we'll look to build on and leverage. Getting smarter about smart cities, another Brookings Institute report that came out in 2014, looking at policy level decisions. And then, transport issues. You can never really discount fully transport issues and its impact on sustainable mobility. If you look at what we have right here in Boca Raton now, we have a highway, we have tri-rail, we have a bus system. We do not have any kind of water taxi. We don't have bike sharing yet. We have Uber, we have Lyft, but we don't really have infrastructure that's catered to pickup spots and uses of that. We don't really have very many transit stations. We have some bike paths, but the interconnectivity of that is sparse, and it's certainly not broken out enough to where my kids, I would feel safe with my kids riding on some of those things, especially along the street. So there's a lot that we could do at the local level, but really want to set policies for that at a broader level and see how we could pull in the multiprocessors, the sensors, and really put out some great policy decisions and recommendations for those decisions that'll get there. So that kind of wraps up where we're at. We know, I think the biggest steps over the next month are probably getting this policy built out and understanding really what's policy is, what cities are enacting policy at the best level right now, and looking to build upon that. Again, our deliverable, we're looking to put together a paper by the end of the semester that builds upon those 4 areas. We've done a good job breaking out those areas. Another great quote, we won't neglect our cities to our peril. If we're neglecting them, we neglect the nation. Again, just keep in mind, we're building forward with the idea that our nation is built on cities, and that's really where a lot of innovation comes from. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. There's my email address. You can reach me on Facebook, reach me on the course website, and I'll upload this now. All right, thank you.